Green Lantern Corps, issue 5, legacy number 108. This is written by Morgan Hampton and Jeremy Adams, with art by SERG ACUNA and V. Kenneth Marion. So, yeah, there's two kind of ongoing plots here that were set up last issue that are both kind of concluded in this one. So we've got kind of two separate groups of characters at play, one of which is Kelly, Ellie, and Baz. And I always forget Ellie's name because my brain just won't accept that it's so close to Kelly's name. Because I think Ellie and go, that has to be wrong. There's no way it's Kelly and Ellie. But it is Kelly and Ellie.
It definitely is, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll sink in eventually that that's what Ellie's name is. But yeah, they're inside like the mind maze of well, kind of all of them. I was going to say it's Kelly's mind, but it's kind of going through all
sharing memories.
Yeah, it goes through some Baz memories as well. So I think what this probably did is that it kind of helped flesh out Kelly a bit, who could use some fleshing out. I think because I've liked her inclusion. And like, I think she's an interesting idea as a character, but like who she actually is and like, kind of how she ended up with the glove and all that's been kind of wishy-washy. And it still kind of is, but it's kind of nice to see like a bit more of her character and that she cared about someone, and kind of teasing some of it with these fears is in because the difference with Baz when we get to see his fears and like the idea that in this version of his nightmare his brother died. It's like, oh, we actually have context for this. We know that his brother didn't die. We know what the truth is. So it's kind of an interesting comparison between the two of like sort of learning about a character we don't know that much about versus one that we do already kind of know the context for what we're seeing.
It's a little bit awkward for me because so I'm guessing part of this is, Teen Lantern's not been in a lot of like mainline stuff. It was in the younger stuff that she was introduced, right?
Yeah, Young Justice, and then she's basically just on the build up to this. She's been popping up in a couple of issues of Green Lantern here or there.
Right. So we don't really have a lot of her backstory nailed down for most people, which is why it's here. I think the problem is once you introduced that, hey, Simon's memories aren't real, like the versions we're seeing aren't real here. I don't know how much of her versions are real or not either. Like, I don't know. It makes it really easy, like later on, if they want to say that's not how this happened, to change it again, right?
Well, yeah, but I think it's always intended here to not be what really happened. Like she says that at one point, but I think you can kind of like infer some things. Like so, when she sees like the grandmother character and the grandmother is trying to like convince her to do things, it does probably tell you that she cared about a grandmother who maybe did actually die, and this is kind of preying on those memories. So I think it's giving you some stuff to latch onto. It's not wanting to give you the complete clean story yet.
Gives us a little bit, yeah.
And then the flip side of this is Guy is with what's his name? Garth?
I thought it was something with a P, but I could be wrong.
It's not Barf. That's not right. Anyway, Evil Star's chasing them on this space station. He's delightfully
Narf. It's Narf.
Narf. There you go. And Evil Star is, as delightfully as D-list as you'll get, chasing people through the space station. But I had some decent fun with that, I have to say. And then obviously this ties in as well with Space Cabbie, getting called to come and save the day by Guy, and even the jokes that Guy calling him directly and not using an app makes him kind of old school, which to be fair sounds like Guy. I mean, most mainline comic book heroes should be acting old now, given how long they've been around.
Yeah, there's a few fun Guy moments here. The one where when Narf does his thing and guy's like, oh wait, Narf's awesome, and then he's like, actually I'm his teacher, so I'm awesome. I'm like, yeah, that's Guy.
Yeah, which is funny because obviously the last issue set up that he didn't want to be paired with this guy. He's like, oh no, this little furry loser, no, he's hopeless. And now he's like, I'll take credit. Now that he can turn into a giant beast, the big lion thing, I'm going to take credit for this. So, yeah. I think more than anything, I'm just kind of digging how this book's given us a chance to like spend, whether it be one-shots or little two-parters like this on some of the other Lantern characters. It's nice to do that. It's making the Green Lantern side of the world more fleshed out. And while this two-parter didn't necessarily tie into too much of what's happening in the Green Lantern mythos right now, with them wanting to rebuild the power batteries, it does feel like it's still taking place kind of in that world, and that is being referenced here or there. The first couple of issues referenced that a lot more than this one did.
I agree. I think I like parts of this bit more than the previous stuff. Like it being not it feeling separate, but not feeling the need to address every issue and just be like, no, this is just where we are, and we can just have a story with a couple of lanterns. I like that. I do think I would have liked these issues more if they were two separate one shots as opposed to just like half an issue of each. I think like just be like, hey, this is the guy issue, and just have the guy and Narf doing their thing, and then the other one will be here's Simon, Kelly, and Ellie doing their thing. Like I get that they're tied here because it's the same planet. You got Space Cabbie and both things like that, but I don't know. I feel like just have them separate, especially when you've got different artists doing the different sections anyway. I feel like if they were just two separate issues, I feel like they'd have been a little bit stronger for me. Yeah,
I do wonder if well, I think there's been two artists on a lot of the issues of this book so far, so it's maybe just like a stylistic choice of like, if we've got two groups of characters, we're going to keep doing that, which, for better or worse, is something they've decided to do.
It could be. This one has two writers as well, though, and I wonder if it is...
It's all been two writers.
Story, right, but I don't know how much of it is story and story on like ones of this, or if it's more script and like story.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I assumed because Adams is like one of the two people that he is sort of guiding it because he's writing the main book, but the other writer's the one who's sort of putting in the more sort of minutiae work.
That's what I thought was probably the case, especially with Hampton being the one getting the lead credit inside the book.
I
don't know about the cover. I don't know which one of them gets. Adams gets the lead cover credit, probably because a bigger name at this point. But inside it is credited as Hampton and Adams, which makes me feel like they're maybe doing more of the heavy lifting.
Yeah, I think part of like giving all these other characters time to breathe a little bit is that it feels like, okay, it's building up Kelly a little bit, it's building up Narf a little bit. I've forgotten the name already, but the character from who was like acting out with the fear manifestations from issue 1 that kind of got recruited. I kind of liked, that was a cool introduction of a new character that can maybe be a recurring guest that kind of, it feels like we're kind of building up a bit of more of a core again of like some interesting like side characters that, might factor into things later, which I kind of dig. Hopefully they don't go too long before they go back to some of them, but I did really appreciate the setup of some of these characters so far.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
On top of just, being able to spend time with some of the ones we already know and like.
I've been asking for a book like this, like just a Green Lantern core book for literal years at this point. Just have... I don't want it to get too heavy into crossovers for a while, ideally. Just have your main Green Lantern book do its Green Lantern, like, main core story, and just have this doing side stories. And I get why they're mostly having human lanterns in it right now, because there's so goddamn many of them anyway. But I'd love this book to get to a point where we just follow every issue, just like a random lantern, or like we can have a rotating cast of different lanterns, but just they're mainly not even our human lanterns, but we've just got some of the other ones as well, just doing their own thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're starting to add some more of the aliens to the roster here with characters like Narf. I think, obviously I expected to tie in somewhat because they're definitely keeping it in continuity with the other book. The thing that's going on is what they're also kind of dealing with, broadly speaking, but if they're getting to jump around the characters like this, and we're getting a little bit of, because this was, these characters, but before, I really liked the last two-parter, which was more about John, and like his like awkward stuff with Hawk Woman was quite good. And so it's like, hey, they're all getting like turns and getting a little bit of growth out of it is quite nice. And the end of the issue, to your point about like what are we getting to with Kelly's backstory? Well, the ending is teasing like there's something there that she's keeping hidden, because it's Ellie in her mind and this door's locked and she can't go in, and it's like, what's behind that door? So it does feel like there's something to reveal there that they're building to. They're teasing here with this. So, plus we're doing a Mogo thing next issue.
Long overdue giving us a Mogo issue.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt he's going to be the protagonist of the story. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll do something weird and creative, but
I think there's no reason why he can't be.
Yeah. I think just the wording here at the end is a mission to Mogo makes me think other characters are going there. So that would be my guess.
Yeah.
As far as the art's concerned, I mean, I think the art in both stories is solid enough. They're pretty house style for the most part. I think the most fun element of it is probably Narf, just because he's the furry alien character with a lot of details. So it seems like there's a lot of fun animation that goes into kind of just presenting him, especially when he's like acting scared or when he's like gets determined. So like he's very expressive. Yeah,
I think it's funny because I think that's the most out of the two. That's way more house style than the other one for me. Because the other one has like the really anime faces, especially on all the women. All the women, all the girls that side of the story, they're proper anime girls.
I suppose I can see it. Yeah, I'm looking at it.
The eyes, the faces. Like if you go to the page where they first go into Kelly's memory with the grandma on the hospital bed, and there's a big close up of her face with her tears, and it's so anime, like compared to the other one, which is very much like DC 2010's house style.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. It doesn't stick out as aggressively anime to me because it's not quite doing the pointy nose thing as much. Like, I mean, I'm not saying there's not like a pointiness to it in like a general sense, but it's not got the harsh point of what sticks out to me as anime immediately.
Oh, yeah. I really noticed, especially on I think I first noticed the page before that one, the very bottom panel at the boy like going into the door and like yeah, like it stood out to me how different the two styles were, but they were really trying hard to make them not look that different so that they could have them in the same issue and it not be too jarring. Like it felt like they really wanted them to be a lot more cohesive than they actually are. I think that's part why I was like, I'd have liked these as separate stories, like separate issues, because I feel like they could have actually like been a little bit more of their own art style each, as opposed to kind of trying to still feel like it's in the same issue and it's flipping back and forth with that being incredibly jarring.
Yeah, I wonder if just structurally they thought about it and decided that either story maybe didn't feel like it moved at a nice pace on its own when they were split up, so jumping between them gave them both kind of just the right amount of just space, really. But, all right, what are you giving Green Lantern Corps?
I give it a 7. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree with that. 7 out of 10.